This is my Clockwork uConsole. Let's see how I built it. Okay, so I've got a Raspberry Pi CM5, which may cause me a bit of extra trouble, but we'll see how we get on. So this is you just put that on, I guess, there, and this is just so that when you plug and unplug, you're not wearing out these connectors. And the other thing is this is going to raise the height and make it a bit easier for the heatsink later. So I can put thermal pad between the CPU here and the metal case of the uConsole. This on, I suppose it will just line up nicely. So is that in focus? Yeah, I'm just gonna squeeze, I suppose, those together. Is that all you do? Oh, click. Okay. Let's just see. Click. Okay. So that's that. And then for programming it, I've got this Raspberry Pi CM5 board, which is here. Oh, I see, they're slightly offset, so that can go on there like that, and that lines up. So I'm just going to press down. And that should be that. So I had to find my own jumper from an old motherboard. Just plug that in, like so. Now, I don't know if it's going to get hot during the flashing process, but I'm just going to gently place this on here anyway, just in case. But I suppose we'll find out. We do have a light. My laptop's just made a noise. So instead of doing Nix shell-p, what I found was that was using the stable Nix. And so I was getting an old version of RPi boot. So this way I can say Nix run, and this seems to load this version 2025, which is much more recent, 0227. But I can't, that's not running as root, so I'm going to do Nix shell, Nix packages unstable RPi boot. And now if I do sudo RPi boot, let's see. Ah, it's working. So file read boot image. Okay. And now if I do ls blk, so SDB is 58.2 gigabytes. It's a 64 gigabyte flash, so now I should be able to copy my image onto there. This is the thread you need on the Clockwork Pi forum, the Ubuntu 6.12.y. That's what it is right now anyway. Posted by Rex. And then if you scroll down to the folder, then we should be able to download the image. So here we go, Clockwork Pi, Ubuntu. Yeah, I guess this is the one we want. So if I click download, standard download. And that should give us the image. The tar looks that fine. Does not look like a tar archive. What do you mean? Oh, it's true. It's not a tar archive. I just need to. How do you? Is it XZ? So XZ. UnXZ. That'll do it. UnXZ. There we go. Bring in the RPi boot package, and then we can plug this in to the laptop. Can't see. There we go. You get a red light on the board, and now I can go sudo, oops, not with caps lock on, sudo rpi boot, and it will connect and put the board into flash mode. So if we read the instructions, this is what we've been doing. And then flash the eMMC, we need a command like this. So I'll just copy that. And our image, so it's SDB. And our image is called, what is it called? Clockwork Pi. Oops, Control Shift and C. Control Shift and V. So we're going to DD from the Clockwork Pi image to SDB with a block size of 4 megabytes. And I think if I do -- progress, I should be able to. Oh. Status equals progress. There we go. No such file. Well, we're in the wrong directory, that's why. There we go. And it's appeared like this now. So I suppose this is the image now that it's been written. Let's have a look. So this should now boot up on the next boot. And for that, I'm going to connect it to a monitor and keyboard and mouse. I've wired it up to my screen and keyboard. Plugged in, press the power button. Let's set this to the right input then. Oh wow, it's working. Rebooting. Booting up again. Okay, nice. Let's log in. Welcome to Ubuntu. Okay, let's see what we got. That's our board. I think this Wi-Fi antenna came with this board. Some screws. A keyboard. This is a keyboard circuit board. Thermal material. Now, a front panel. Looks like the antenna that comes with uConsole. We have the back panel. I guess that is like that. And more back panel. Too much, but there's the display. I'm not quite sure what that is. Battery holder. I think this is like a main board. And a sort of daughter board. And this is how we mount the actual CM module. So the CM module goes on that, and then that goes in there. This is the trackpad. And these are speakers. And last but not least, I've just found, which will help a lot, assembly guidelines. Like that. And place it like so. And then we place the rubber piece on. Like so. Presumably. Does not seem particularly stable. And then place this on. Starting to look like it's going to look. Seems quite good. The keyboard I wasn't convinced by, but you can tell you've pressed a key, which is the main thing. So this will fit in here. Well, I want to remove this heatsink, and I'm hoping it's not stuck on too much. There we go, not too bad, it's attached. Okay, I didn't really enjoy that. Some of these pins don't look happy. I'll try and bend them back. I used this tool to bend the pins back, and I think they've bent back to their original place. Okay, that's the correct way around. And then the question is, will it still connect okay? Just seems as if you have to increase the pressure until it clicks. Well, it clicked and it felt okay, so hopefully the bending of the pins and the bending them back hasn't done any damage. Right, now this kind of connector makes a lot more sense. We're just going to slide this in like a DIMM module and push it down. Is that when this goes on, I can feel it sticking to the thermal pad. That's a good sign. That's what I was hoping for. So I read online that adding this extra caddy gives it enough height that you can use a thin thermal pad and get contact with this. Now the fact that I've got this piece came with thermal pads of different thicknesses, and so by reusing the same thicknesses I was hoping everything would work. And it does seem like that makes contact, so the others should too. So let's just put that on there, and then hopefully that will now contact all the three pads. And that goes through the, oh, does it? There we go, that goes through there. So where does that connect on the board? To here. Let's rotate it round so it fits nicely. So I went for the 4G module. I don't remember why, it was a long time ago I ordered it, but so I've somehow got to mount this. Let's see if I can figure it out. Insert the power button. That works. And now I can replace all the screws. So 3.48. I think that's close enough. 3.48, 3.50. There we go. There we go. So the question is, will it power on? Press the button. Let's press the button. Green light. There we go. There we go. So yeah, this is not great. It'll go one way, but not the other. Oh, can we adjust the screen brightness? Yeah, that works. Can I make volume? Do I press? There we go, function and volume makes it louder. Yeah, okay, we can make that bigger. I've got a default installation of Ubuntu, but my mouse isn't working. What command can I type to configure my Wi-Fi?
To configure your Wi-Fi in Ubuntu, you can use the nmtui command, which opens a text-based user interface that lets you select and configure networks. Just open a terminal and type sudo nmtui, then navigate through the menus to connect to your Wi-Fi network.
Thank you. I'm doing cargo install Starship. So we're having to do Rust compilation. And if I do this, just zoom out. If I do super and write, here you can see, and the temperature of the CPU is 63°C. Right now, I believe. And that's about as hot as it gets with 100% usage. So that's not too bad. In the tiling window manager, it's quite hard to do combinations like super shift or super control question mark, because you have to press 4 keys at once, and sometimes that doesn't work on this keyboard. So what I've done is I've swapped the left Alt key is now the super key, i.e. the Windows key, and this is a command to do it. And so the way I have this set up is I'm using Regolith, which includes the i3 window manager, and I have swapped the Alt and the Wing keys so that I can do this, and I can start a terminal. Let's just make it a little bit bigger, like so. And I can use the Qt browser, which is quite nice because it uses the keyboard. So this mouse is okay, but not ideal to be using a lot. So I like to use the keyboard as much as possible. And so I can do, this is the Windows key and T. And this is my home assistant, so if I do Shift and J, I can cycle through some tabs. Here's a good one. And if I press the F key, everything highlights, and I can choose, let's say I want to click on this link here, I can just press the letters of the link, and I can scroll with the Vim keys like this. And I can go back with Shift and H, and with Shift and J and K I can cycle through tabs like this. And with Windows and left I can go back to my terminal. One thing I did was I installed Gemini CLI. Let's have a play, and I can say something like explain about cyberducks. Also, this terminal tool can read and write files, so I asked it to make a small Python project and it just wrote the whole project for me, which is sort of fun. Defining cyberduck. There we go. So yeah, builders have complete freedom over the components. Well, I've just bought a kit, so maybe this isn't a real cyberduck, but it's good fun. Now, how do I quit this? Well, let's not worry, let's just create a new terminal. I've got a fun game that I sometimes play. You can connect to Aardwolf. What else? Oh, WeChat. I've got working. So it's quite nice, and I can do / connect, and it has autocomplete. Okay, I have some notes from notes. So these are the things I installed. Regolith, you have to follow instructions on the website, and remember to set the architecture to ARM and not AMD 64 when you install those apt repositories needed for Regolith. And I've installed some Rust tools with Cargo, and also binstall, so I can install binaries with Cargo. I use UV for Python. JJCLI. JJ is Jujitsu, which is a version control system, which I can play around with. So this is quite a cool little tool for playing around with things in the terminal. This is how I do my underclock. Edit that file and set the frequency. So there are some power issues on CM5. I think it will sometimes power off, and it does so in a way that you can't do anything without taking the batteries out. So we'll not avoid that as much as possible. By the way, by installing some packages, I've managed to get, so these are just each of these plugins on the bottom is just a Regolith apt package, and there's one for battery level, one for CPU usage. This is an attempt, I don't know if it does much. I read a blog post saying you could save power while you're in standby. Something about changing voltage to some pins when the Pi is powered off. And then I can mess around with bpython as well. So if I just quit and type bpython is quite a nice. Oh, why is it not working? Oh, I know why, because I have to go cd pi stuff, and then if I do control R, there we go, UV run bpython, and this is a nice little Python with a REPL and autocomplete. Like so, and you can use it as a calculator. Like so. Whoops, I meant Control D. There we go. And so there we have it. We have a nice little terminal emulator with Wi-Fi that I can just connect to my computers and do upgrades and maintenance and things and play some games and mess around with some programming and things like that. So there we go.